The sole Commissioner for Judgment Debt, Justice Yawapo, says the negligence and lack of patriotism on the part of some public officers is the reason for the inordinate judgment debts being recorded before it. He said, unfortunately, most of the monies have been paid out, and monies, he says, could have been used to provide basic amenities lacking in many communities here in Ghana.
Lamenting the loss of huge sums of monies to the state in the name of judgment debts, he said it was unfortunate some of these monies have already been paid.
When the suit starts, it starts with a principal claim, maybe 10 million. Then they will go to court. Within years, the 10 million will balloon to say 140 billion. And some of these things that have been paid. And it's Ghanaians who are behind it. Lawyers, officers from the AG's office who are supposed to go and defend, who will not go. Officers from some of the ministries who won't bother to do anything. And these monies continue to go.
In a case titled Nanasam Kranche Arthur against the Attorney General and two others over the acquisition of land meant for the Jasikan District Assembly, the DCE Kilian Abrampa appeared before the Commission for clarifications. According to him, although the land in question is 68 acres, the Assembly occupies only 17.8 acres, with the rest occupied by encroachers. It was established that the lawyer for Sam Kranche Arthur said Dumoga went to court prematurely.
Nana Sankranchiata rushed to court to procure the judgment that initially was for the sum of 42,000 Ghana cedis. Presently, as I speak to you, as of September, this amount has ballooned to 993,000 Ghana cedis.
In another case titled Esther Buedu versus the Attorney General, due to negligent health care, it was established that there was a consent judgment of 30,000 Ghana cedis to the plaintiff.
Well, as promised, we return to revelations emerging from Joynews investigations into the operations of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, established to coordinate development to bridge the gap between Ghana's north and south, but rather which currently is bedeviled by alleged corruption, improper award of contracts, among others. Manasseh Azuri Awareness reports on some travels which, according to an audit report cited by Joynews, also suggested wasteful and undue mandatory unauthorized payments at SADA.
In 2012, management of SADA organized a trip for 3 officials to Turkey on behalf of some district assemblies. The CEO, Gilbert Seydou Idi, a Minister of State at the Presidency, Alhaji Mustafa Ahmed, and Mahama Shaibu, an executive assistant at SADA, embarked on this trip. This trip cost SADA some 226,000 Ghana cedis. The trip, according to SADA management, was meant to facilitate sister city relationships on behalf of some district assemblies. An audit report on SADA states that the trip did not fall within SADA's mandate and did not bring any benefit to the authority. The report also says the 226,000 Ghana cedis spent on the trip was not approved by the SADA board. The report recommends that Mr. Gilbert Seydou Idi should be surcharged with the amount. Joynews checks also revealed that Chronum Investment Limited, the company paid over 84,000 Ghana cedis to organize the trip, is not a travel or tour agency. It deals in ICT services, real estate development, and oil explorations, among others. Another unapproved expenditure on a trip, according to the audit report, was a trip to Birmingham and Berlin. Management of SADA paid about 70,000 Ghana cedis to Casmet Seed Company to organize the trip. Joynews checks at the Registrar General's Department again revealed that this company too does not deal in travel and tour. It is into sale of seeds, construction of thefts, and agro-business. The audit report also reveals that SADA could not account for about $14,000 when it sponsored 3 officials to the 68th session of the UN General Assembly. SADA CEO Gilbert Idi, Alhaji Mustafa Ahmed, and SADA board chairman Alhassan Andani embarked on this trip. Mr. Alhassan Andani has denied that the trip was to the UN General Assembly, as stated in the audit report. He told Joynews that SADA had a meeting in New York at the time the UN General Assembly was in session. He, however, admitted that there were issues with the receipts and they were being dealt with. For Joynews, Manasseh Azure Arene reporting.
We turn our attention to some stories on the economy, and the Ministry of Finance has debunked reports that Ghana is at the IMF World Bank Spring meetings currently underway in Washington, D.C. to seek financial support from the fund. Deputy Finance Minister Castle Latoforsen has admitted government will not rule out that possibility, but insists government has in place credible fiscal consolidation measures.
Finance Minister said Tekpe is currently leading a government delegation to the IMF World Bank Spring meetings held annually in Washington, D.C. Although the meeting is to discuss issues including increasing agricultural productivity in Africa and implications for fiscal policy, there are reports Ghana is attending with hopes of gaining fiscal support from the IMF. Deputy Finance Minister Castle Latoforsen disagrees.
Ghana is a member of the IMF, and members of IMF get in there to look at the world economic situation. We zone it down to regional economic situations, and it comes to country level. So it's not purely based on a particular agenda, but it offers you an opportunity also to discuss your country specifics, where you meet with a fund, you meet with a bank, and also you meet with other institutions to discuss the entirety of your economics. So it's amazing what you get out there, and I strongly feel that it's a yearly affair, but every year we go in there, we come back very refreshed and very focused and very poised to do things differently.
He however says it is possible for Ghana as a member of the IMF to solicit financial support from the fund.
IMF do not provide budget support. They provide balance of payment support. We've never ruled out that possibility, but that doesn't necessarily mean that as a country we cannot do our own thing. Though we are not with the fund, but we keep engaging the fund. We have Article 4 every year. We get them to come in media. If we need technical assistance, we talk to the fund. The fund comes in and assists us. So it doesn't necessarily mean that go to the fund and then sign an agreement with the fund. I strongly feel that in the end, what matters is that our fiscal consolidation measures that we've put in place is credible.
Well, on the sidelines of those spring meetings taking place in Norway, President John Dramani Mahama and his Colombian counterpart, President Juan Manuel Santos, they've discussed further cooperation between Ghana and Colombia and mutual support to find solutions for common problems facing the two countries, especially in the area of sustainable development and illegal mining.
The leaders are said to have met after President Mahama delivered the keynote address at the World Urban Forum in his capacity as a designated champion of the African urban agenda. President Manuel Santos expressed admiration for President Mahama's leadership, thanking him for his support during the recent opening of a Colombian embassy in Accra. President Mahama said Africa and South America are geographically linked, noting the Atlantic should rather be a bridge than a barrier between the two countries. He added that Ghana, with a growing economy and a growing middle class, offers many opportunities for closer partnership with Colombia, especially private partnerships to provide mass public transportation systems. They also discussed lessons to be learned from how Colombian authorities have transformed Medellin, as well as skills development and training for the youth. Present at the discussion were the Colombian Foreign Minister Maria Angela Hogun, Senior Advisor to the President Alhaji Baba Kamara, Minister for Local Government and Rural Development Akwesi Opon-Fosu, Accra Metropolitan Chief Executive Alfred Okovandapoy, and the Head of Communications at the Presidency, Ben Duchemalo.
Back here in Ghana, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, they've threatened to boycott lectures from April 15 if government fails to initiate the process to pay members book and research allowance for the academic period 2013-2014. Government in the 2014 budget statement indicated that as part of efforts to encourage research work in tertiary institutions in Ghana, the existing system of payment of book and research allowances was to be reviewed and placed with a research facility. UTAG maintains it cannot accept government's decision to scrap or replace the allowances with a national research fund. They say this will hurt career development of lecturers at tertiary institutions.
President of UTAG, Dr. Samuel Owusu-Bequin, told journalists UTAG is not opposed to the establishment of the National Research Fund. Instead, it wants the funds to complement the book and research allowances.
Despite our non-opposition to the establishment of the fund, we made it clear in unambiguous terms that we did not believe that the National Research Fund should lead to the obliteration of the existing book and research allowances. Today, UTAG still stands by that conviction and strongly believes and wishes to state that the proposed National Research Fund and the book and research allowances can coexist.
Officials also deny suggestions that did not undertake any concise research to aid in the academic work and took time to explain to the media what they do with the book and research allowances and why scrapping them would affect them.
For everyday research, at least I can be guaranteed some amount of money that I can use to pay the people who collect the data for me in the field. And therefore, if you say that you're taking away this kind of money and you're going to put it in a bigger fund where you are looking at the proposal that I'm coming to submit before you take a decision, then it means that you are depriving me of that ability to do research at a basic level, which doesn't only benefit me, it benefits the student who is using that as a PhD thesis, and also even the society as a whole.
The lecturers would have been entitled to an annual book and research allowance of $1,500, but this, they say, has never been enough.
It has come to a point that even the money that's being given is no longer adequate for the kind of work that we do. We have written to government for an upward adjustment of it. They have not responded. And instead of responding to that upward adjustment of the book and research allowance, now they came out to say that we are setting up a national research fund. Mind you, we have not said that we are against the establishment of the National Research Fund. And listen to the name given to it, National Research Fund, which means that any researcher, wherever the person finds himself, can have access to that research fund. So how come you want lecturers to sacrifice their resources to populate a fund and then make it open for everybody, including lecturers in the private universities who have not sacrificed anything?
The press conference ended with a caveat that government initiate the process to pay the allowances for this academic year, or they'll be compelled to lay down their tools.
Again, we have to remind you, we have a team in Tamale led by Emmanuel Ante, our man there. He will be bringing us a lot more on the AM show concerning the preparations by the MPP for its National Delegates Congress to take place this very Saturday, the 12th of April 2014. In the meantime, though, one of the contestants for one of those very positions, and we're talking about the General Secretaryship position of the MPP, Kwabene Japong, was involved in an accident on Tuesday. And a member of his convoy, who's also chairman of the Alliance for Accountable Governance, Dr. Nana Ayu Efriye, also among the convoy, said the car somersaulted several times after entering a pool of water which had gathered on the road after it had rained. He spoke to the news team.
Yeah, Mr. Japan was sent to study service. As a matter of fact, as much as I would describe this accident as a very terrible one, to the best of my physical impression, he was well. He only complained of pain in the right upper arm. And apart from that, there was no cut of him, and he was physically fit.
Right, so Dr. Freire, the images we're seeing on social media, Facebook and other places, it's very terrible. I mean, is anybody in very critical condition or anybody dead?
Nobody, no one died. No one died. I'm telling you, like I said, it's a miracle. to the able hands of the good Lord. We went to prayer, and I think that we have survived by His grace.
So you were part of the convoy, right?
Absolutely.
What exactly happened?
It was raining there about 1:30 p.m. and we had just left the Amasaman area using the new road just behind us away.
Right.
And I think there was a kind of flat on the road. So the car skidded off the road, hit the gutter in between the one leading to Kumasi and the one heading to Afar. The car somersaulted several times, and then we ended up facing back to Afar. The other way. Yes. The car is destroyed.
That must have been very frightening. I mean, you were in that.
Absolutely.
You were in the same. You were in the same car, right?
I was.
What was going on in your mind when this was happening? I'm sure you were thinking, Jesus, this will be the end of you?
My brother always would say, Jesus, it's just Jesus that I just mentioned in the car.
Dr. Nana Ayu Efriye was speaking to Stephen Anti. Well, we have to still remain with some party political news. And, well, the CPP, as part of its restructuring process, will, by the close of this year, issue digitized biometric cards to registered members to help the party strategize for the 2016 elections. The General Secretary of the party, Ivor Greenstreet, also indicated the CPP will, by December this year, go to Congress to choose its national executives and flag bearer so it can adequately prepare for the elections in 2016 early enough.
So what we have agreed upon is that between July and September the 30th of this year, those 3 months will be for all constituency elections and all regional conferences of the party nationwide, leaving October, November as a period of time where national officers will campaign and contest for positions that they seek to occupy at the December 2014 Congress.
According to the General Secretary of the CPP, Ivor Greenstreet, officials are currently focused on settling the internal wranglings within the party to enable them prepare adequately for Congress. He added the CPP needs to abide by its new constitution to enhance its integrity and growth.
There are some executives who will be unable to contest again in their positions because there was a constitutional change at our last Congress, and which was that if you've been in an elected position for more than 2 terms, you cannot contest. You can move to another position and contest another position, but that same position you can only hold for 2 terms. So, and that is right from the top to the bottom. So that creates a lot of open spaces for a lot of activity at the constituency and regional level, and we hope that will also create some vibrancy within the party and change our fortunes.
He notes the party is currently finalizing talks with the PNC to present a unified Nkrumah's front for the 2016 elections.
Well, currently there's some extensive negotiations going on with the PNC, and I believe we're due to have a meeting within the next week or two, which will be a large meeting of groups within the party. We are very ready, and we believe that is something else that if we're able to succeed and achieve would be very important for creating a sense of unity for the people of Ghana, to see that we're also serious and ready to compromise and come together and unite around ideas rather than around our own ambitions and our own pride and our own ego.
The CPP is meanwhile appealing to all its numerous supporters to unite and assist the party financially for victory in 2016.
The Environmental Protection Agency is to embark on an education campaign on the environment, and this is aimed at making people environmentally responsible and also help effectively deal with contemporary environmental challenges. A report by Gifty Andoapia.
In 2013 and 2014, the country recorded unprecedented environmental occurrences. Dead whales were washed ashore, and the president, alongside school children, observed Independence Day enduring a heavy downpour. The occurrences attributed to climate change have, among others, highlighted the need to take a much critical look at environmental protection. The stakeholders meeting was to review the EPA's 22-year-old educational strategy and fashion out implementation modalities. Executive Director of the EPA, David Amlalo, told the technical review team to make monitoring an integral part of the strategy.
There's need to include monitoring and evaluation mechanisms so that all stakeholders can keep track and monitor implementation. For the agency, this is a time for stock taking on how it has impacted on the Ghanaian environment and evolve new ways to improve the work of the agency. It is in this light that we urge you to work hard to come up with implementable and cost-effective strategies.
But Deputy Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Dr. Benis Hello Adiku urged the EPA to pursue reclamation bonds from both large and small-scale miners to ensure the availability of funds to cater for the environment.
Presently, only large-scale mining companies put down reclamation bonds, and this is something unacceptable. To address the precarious effects of galamsey activities on the environment, our sector minister has directed EPA by way of policy to take reclamation bonds from all companies involved in small, medium or large-scale mining activities that require new environmental clearances or renewals for their activities.
She said the policy document, when completed, should be translated into local languages for better propagation. In a speech read on her behalf, Minister of Education Professor Jainano Pokwajimai said children must be targeted. She added it is imperative for the policy to focus on sustainable development and how it can be integrated further into the educational system.
Children are more receptive to change and are more likely to acquire the skills for environmental management and to develop a deep and lasting concern for the natural environment than adults. Besides, the children we see today are the parliamentarians, the directors, and the heads of departments and decision makers tomorrow. They will not only inherit the responsibilities of looking after the earth and take decisions for the betterment of the environment, but they comprise nearly half the population. Furthermore, children all over the world are highly vulnerable to the effects of environmental degradation. Therefore, involving them in environmental management through environmental education in our schools will safeguard the future sustainability of any actions taken to improve the environment.
The new educational strategy by the EPA forms part of the agency's stock-taking after 40 years of existence and the agency's quest to be more responsive to modern environmental needs. Gitiandopia, Joynews, Accra.
And before we go, the management of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, they've been reacting to Manasseh Azuriawune's report about wasteful expenditures as being reported in an audited account of the SADA, that there were some wastage on its accountability of travels. And according to the management of the authority, they've questioned the basis for the allegations of the financial malfeasance leveled against SADA in the audit report of 2011 to 2013. SADA officials say the issues raised in the report are not conclusive because they were yet to respond to them. The audit report, however, states that observations during the audit have been discussed with management and their responses incorporated in the management letter thereof. Director of Finance and Resource Mobilization at SADA, John Kwakupome, told Joy FM the audit process was still ongoing and they would not engage the media on its content in order not to compromise the current process being undertaken. So that will be it for the latest news highlights we have for you on the AM show. But before we go, though, we have to recap our top stories. UTAG has threatened to boycott lectures from April 15 if members' book and research allowances for the 2013-2014 period or academic year is not paid. The Finance Ministry has debunked reports Ghana is at the IMF World Bank Spring meetings currently taking place in Norway to seek financial support from the fund. That will be it for the latest news highlights we have for you on the AM show. Do stay on. Baba Tando will be here with some sports highlights.
Right, so tonight maybe my girlfriends would ask me, baby Buffet party hello. If Atletico Madrid are able to beat Barcelona, then of course you know what's going to happen. But then if it goes the other way around, then it won't be too strange. But that game will be played alongside the other one between Manchester United and Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena in Germany. So these are the matches upcoming for tonight. Right, away from the UEFA Champions League issues, let's come down to Ghana because the 39th Sports Writers Association of Ghana Awards launch will be held on Friday, April 25 at the Media Center of the Accra Sports Stadium. Now, this date has been specifically chosen because the occasion will be graced by the Brazilian ambassador to Ghana, Her Excellency Irene Vida Gala. It's Juliana Ako, the weightlifter, Asamoah Gyan and Kwesi Appiah who will be vying for the Sports Personality of the Year award. Here are the nominations.
Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan will contest his national team coach Kwesi Appiah for the 2013 Sports Writers Association's Sports Personality of the Year award in May this year for the key roles they played in helping the Black Stars to qualify for the 2014 World Cup. The Sports Personality of the Year is a contest between Appiah, Gyan and Juliana Ako, who won 8 medals last year. Ako, the young weightlifter, won 6 silver and 2 bronze at the 2013 African Championships in Morocco. Appiah became the first Ghanaian to lead the Black Stars to the World Cup, while Gyan captained the side and was also the leading scorer during the qualifiers. The SWAG Awards, which comes off on 17th May 2014 at the State House, will see some international guests like Boris Becker, the former German tennis king. About 900 guests are expected to grace the 39th awards, to be sponsored by communication giants MTN. Meanwhile, the grand launch of the event has been fixed for April 22 at the Media Center of the Accra Sports Stadium.
Before I check out of the studio, there are some outstanding games in the First Capital Plus Premier League, and the fixtures are coming up on your screens. Okay, so it's Apprentices one fixture. It's Amidas Professionals taking on Mediama SC. Remember that Mediama SC have been busy on the continent taking part in this year's edition of the CAF Confederation Cup. So one outstanding game coming up at the Tema Park, Amidas Professionals versus Mediama SC. So that'll do it for sports for this morning, but this afternoon on News Today, there will be more. Sports on the AM show is proudly brought to you by Cowbell. My name is Baba Tando. Have a good morning.